I'd love to have one.
I'd like to call to order the October 24th Park and Rec Commission meeting. First thing, we do have a quorum tonight, I see, right? 5 people, good to go. We need approval of the minutes from September 16, 2019.
Motion approved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next is commission elections. Since Jim gave me this position, now we need a new secretary. Is there anybody out there, to nominate anybody?
I nominate Mike Weston.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a nomination.
And he's got his own city.
This is a high-paying job, I'm telling you. Okay.
You have to have yes or agree.
That was the fastest.
Is there anybody else?
Maybe Al wanted it.
Whatever, you got a second.
That was quick.
Yeah.
Are there any more nominations? Are there any more nominations? Are there any more nominations?
Move nominations be closed. Cast a
Nominations are closed.
Cast a vote for the one nominee.
What?
And cast a unanimous vote for the one nominee.
That's part of his.
Right, okay. So, all in favor of Mike as secretary? Aye. Anybody opposed? You're a new secretary, and I won't be here next month, so you got the job already. There you go, that's how it is. I'll be in Florida thinking about you.
That's why Chevalier wasn't here today.
All right, unfinished business, we have.
Oh, wait a minute, you gotta sit here.
Next one.
Yeah,
I got this one all warmed up.
There
You
you
gotta keep
go.
moving down to the very end.
we have the Library Recreation Center build-out update. Nick, maybe? Right?
Yeah, I can provide an update. So Amy from the library, along with Jay and myself, we're going to present and discuss the project to the Kiwanis Early Risers next week. They potentially may have some interest in supporting the project. Todd Meeks from our city building inspection department was able to supply some reduced cost estimates for appliances, fixtures such as sinks, faucets, toilet bowls, urinals, flushers, kind of get the picture, etc. And also the removal of the hot water heater at the Mutual Mall. When obviously, when that's come to fruition, needed, that would also help reduce the cost as well. Sent that information to Mark Warshaw, who's with Zimmerman. He's our architecture firm that we're working with, and he's going to make those cost adjustments as well, and then resend, and then we can look at that and see where the where that savings came from and what the cost adjustment is with that news with working with Todd, and also with the dance floor to go to the basic gym floor, like a hard wooden floor, basic versus a customized dance floor too. So looking to do some cost reduction there and some savings with that as well. Tomorrow, Sydney and I are going to go take some measurements in order to see if there's another option for the duct that comes through the first floor of the library. The library had a little concerns about currently where it's proposed on the current design. Kind of comes up kind of on their circulation desk, so we're going to kind of go take a look and see if there's another option. Obviously, when they put the design together, it was the most economical approach of doing it. So we're going to at least explore it and see if we can come up with a solution there. Planning to meet with some sales reps at the conference, November 6th and the 7th, regarding the multi-purpose room floor, the rubberized floor, so I'll get some samples. That put together, estimates, and I'll see how much I can negotiate them down. And so then we're gonna meet, our next library rec center committee meeting is gonna be Tuesday, November 12th at 10 a.m. at the library. So all those updates, all that information, we'll bring it to the committee, talk about, discuss project timeline, cost estimations and funding by the first of the year, submit project for bid early 2020 with project build in late spring through the summer, completion in early fall. So that's the track that we're on. And
So it sounds like the numbers are gonna come down then, or we had like an estimated number at first, or,
I don't think they're gonna come down significantly.
okay, not,
Yeah,
okay,
the numbers that he's talking about with Todd are
a small amount, okay, less than 10%.
efforts are being made to get the cost estimation down. One
Right.
of those efforts was working with Todd, cause he could get some better prices
Gotcha.
for those type of, yeah, it's just sinks, toilets, urinals and that kind
Yep.
of stuff. Ripping the hot water heater off of Mount Mutual Mall, taking some windows out of there, that's all things that we're looking at doing as well too, to kind of get the cost estimations down, so.
once we bid it, we'll really know what
Done.
the hard numbers are.
Okay, good. Any other questions for Nick tonight? Thanks, Nick, appreciate it. Next would be All Abilities Playground update.
Cindy's probably our best.
All right, we
Suited.
met with Sarah and Shannon, and they have more people on their group now. We did not get a sense of what their expertise was in each of the areas, but we did talk to them about doing a request for proposals from various playground designers, suppliers, because they were kind of stuck on one, so it's better if they can look at more options. We encourage them to kind of dream big, and then we bring it down to scale when it comes to the pricing and all that kind of stuff. So then we went out to Ridge Run at the south end of the parks to take a look at the site, so they were getting all excited about things. So they're getting me photos and information and things that we can put together in the RFP, send it out to various playground manufacturers to have them come in and talk about what they can do. And then we're gonna be applying for a grant from the Greater Milwaukee Foundation for money to pay whatever playground manufacturer that they like to do a design, which then we can take around and do a dog and pony show and raise funds for the playground. Because it's not typically how you do playgrounds. Usually you'll get quotes for the playground design, and that's included in the materials and all of the equipment, but this is a kind of a different way of approaching it, so hopefully we'll get some good responses for that.
Do you know by chance, Cindy, are they looking at Burke? Does that ring a bell to you up in Fond du Lac? I toured them last night with Moraine Park, and I brought that up about All Abilities play, and that's the hot topic right now. And they had the president and CEO there, and I said, we're starting to think about it. So, okay, so they do know. I mean, I didn't know about them until last night.
Sure.
And they're seems like a real good outfit close by. Maybe get a little help there or something.
Yeah, we're gonna put together some specifications that we can send out and say, we want you to come and do a presentation and tell us what you can do, but we do make sure you wanna include this, and this. So it kind of narrows it down a little bit so they can, I know from the pictures they've been sending me there, it's like the equipment looks like it was built for Disneyland. So that's what I'm saying, they're dreaming big, which is good, but then we'll see what these playground manufacturers say, and it's like, okay, well, if you want something like that, this is the cost, and they can kind of, okay, well, I have to raise more money, or reduce the size of the playground, or we don't want to go with something that expensive and we'll go with something like this. So there'll be a whole group of people kind of setting up a criteria sheet and weighting it for how much each kind of criteria is worth, and then going through that exercise with different companies, so it'll be interesting. So
Good. Well, sounds,
we're moving ahead.
I don't know if any of you are going to the state meeting, WRPA, in 1st of November. I go over to Dallas, and with the vendors over there, you may have an opportunity to touch base with them and get some contacts out with that. I remember seeing 2 or 3 of them there in the years past.
Oh, absolutely.
And the second thing I was kind of wondering is that we're talking about making presentations. Is that going to be to the whole commission?
We hadn't looked at it like that. The issue with that is we'll probably have to look at what they propose in their RFP and narrow it down depending upon how many responses we get.
Mhm.
But it gets more cumbersome if you have a ton of people filling out these criteria sheets and discussing each one. If it's something you want to do, maybe 1 or 2 people could be on the
No, I'm
group.
suggesting that when you come down, you're selecting, say, 2 or 3 or anything, that they should gear their presentation to also including the commission to come and sit in on the presentation itself, not necessarily
Oh.
to participate or to
Yeah.
derive any of the
Sure.
criteria or anything else.
kind of
But
like
I
what's
want to
done.
make sure we do not eliminate the commission input on this.
No,
Right.
yeah, we can do that. So we just don't want 20 people trying to rate these guys.
No, and I'm
Oh my
sure we
gosh.
wouldn't want that.
No,
See,
So-
Jackson built one, do we know how they funded theirs?
They had some CIP money. I don't remember what else she said they used. You were there, Jay.
We toured it. They did some fundraising as well. They did use, I don't know if it was Park or CIP, but they used some city funds as well.
How long did it take them from the design and build and
That's a
everything?
great question, I don't know the answer to
I
that.
didn't even know they were doing it.
It's a
So
nice
I'd
part,
like
it's
to see
certainly
that.
one that is a destination in the area for people to go to, kids to go to.
Has the Parks Commission committed a dollar figure or a percent or anything yet? No, to this project?
The concept is that they are gonna raise all the money.
Okay, okay, so it's gonna be
Unless we get a
like,
grant, which would be for design.
okay, so it's gonna be more funded through like community play, like help build a playground kind of
Coles
thing?
Foundation, places like that.
Eh,
Yeah. I'll
Very
see if I
good,
can pull
Jim.
any strings.
Very well.
Deep packets.
So, I mean, we have no idea how long it would take to actually raise the money for whatever, they wanna, they're the ones driving it and they're the ones who are gonna be paying for it, so not that they're gonna have free reign, but, cause it's our part, but we will be kinda guiding them and through the process and
Okay.
helping with it too. It's not just gonna be their decision either, so.
Perfect. Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you very much, Cindy. New business, we need the winter, spring 2020 recreation program fees. And it is on your computer. I'm sorry, Jim, I don't have a fuchsia
Right
or
here.
a orange or a
It's
yellow.
right here.
So the winter, spring 2020. The notables are the acrobatics and tumbling, gymnastics, junior and tiny tot gymnastics. Those fees were reduced slightly because for the winter of 2020, it's gonna be a 6-week program structure compared to the 8 weeks, just because for scheduling purposes with the school. And if you recall, in the fall, we had some programs that were supported by the West Bend School District through the Fund 80. And we have some of those programs as well in the spring, some instructional sport programs such as archery, soccer, and baseball. So those programs, you can see the fee, the reduce in the fee amount from 2019 to 2020 with the support of the Fund 80 West Bend School District. And we also have some new program offerings with our partnership over at the Music Academy for music lessons such as beginner ukulele, vocal power singing, and the music lab. So those are new for the winter of 2020, and then the other programs that they've always provided, beginner guitar and piano as well, and their judo and ballroom dance, some of our mainstay programs. That's what I have.
I
Not
see.
harmonica.
I see there's some LLC programs here, is that?
Yep, animal tracking and snowshoes and snowshoe fun and games, the fees have stayed the same, no changes.
What is Music Lab?
Music Lab is, over at the Music Academy, they have this kind of more technology geared towards the youth, kind of like, if you've ever seen like a Dance Dance Revolution or Guitar Hero, it's kind of structured along those lines, but it's educational, so it gives the kids an opportunity to practice, to learn music, how to play guitar in a different environment, a different way.
My grandson took it and it's for the really young ones, especially kids that can't read music yet, or read in some cases, but they actually strum, and so it's video based.
And then they can see the notes and
They
stuff
can
up on
see
the
the notes
screen
up above,
and
and
whatnot.
it really gets kids excited about music, and they do drums, and they have to walk through the whole store upstairs, which is for kids really fascinating, and it gives them something. My grandson really liked the Packer ukulele. They're all painted up, so.
We just started this fall, and I think it's got a lot of potential to grow.
Yeah, it's really a
So
cool
we can
program.
keep
Is
it
it
up.
only for kids?
Well,
Sorry, Mike.
Mike,
You're a
they
kid
can
at
say
heart.
It's really good
He's a
to
kid
you.
at
Good for
heart.
anybody who doesn't
Yeah, absolutely, doesn't read music, yeah, it's very cool though, it was
Not
fun.
me, but.
Well, we saw your
someone
CD.
else.
We know you know music. We saw your CD. Come on. Any other questions? Thank you. New Kiwanis shelter by the Regner Fish Pond. I was hoping Mike Weston give us some insight on this.
Jay knows more than
Oh, he
I.
does,
He's been
okay.
in the meetings.
Well, Cindy probably knows the most.
Okay. Oh, boy, that went around.
Going around here.
I can
Mike, can we get
introduce.
a time out?
Oh,
Yes.
We gotta approve the fees.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Thank you.
action
Okay.
item.
We need a motion to approve the fees for 2020.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, any comments, questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Nick. All right.
So I'll introduce it and then have Cindy give you an update as to the latest, but the shelter is still tracking in a positive direction. We've had another recent meeting, and are talking about going out for bid, so having a formal bid on the project, a request for proposal, and that the project is bid to a general, if you will, with the kit is gonna be purchased separately, as you all know, and that cost came in around $20,000. For the structure that's coming, the western structure that, similar to the Lac La Ronde and in the Ralph's Dog Park area, those structures, it's a kit that is constructed and put together by somebody. So somebody will receive the bid that is a general, if you will, and put in the concrete, or be responsible for having the concrete put in, having somebody put together the structure once it arrives. The total cost is still probably in that $60,000 range, but we really don't know that until we bid out the entire project. We informed the principals on that topic, whether it's Regner Rejuvenation or the Service Club, as far as that goes, for the bidding process, that's gonna take some time and probably won't get in this fall. So they understand that. Cindy has the details on the timing of when we might go out to bid. I'll just speak briefly about the cash. The cash that Craig built to get to that $60,000 before he left included $10,000 from Park. Carolyn has done a great job of investigating the park fees. We have it's in your packet, $63,000, as to what's available in that $63,000, if there are $10,000 that are available to go towards this as the program is planned for, and there are. So she has done an awesome job of investigating lots of history on where all funds have come from, donations, and expended to. Worked really closely with our finance department, and I just want to thank Carolyn for doing that. That was no small effort, and she met recently with Mike and then myself as far as where those numbers are resulting, and the fact that we do have $10,000 to apply. So I wanted you to know, as commission members, that is really, really good news for the project. Assuming we need those monies, we'll apply those $10,000 from the park funds and have them pass through the council like we normally do.
Good.
Get them approved.
One question before we proceed on. Where would this be located?
It is to the west end of the fishing pond, between the parking lot and the pond. There's like a big, there's an oak tree to the east.
Oh, it'd be
of-
to the north of
Between the
the
parks.
second one that comes
To
out?
the north of the driveway that goes between the two parking lots.
Kinda like where the soccer field.
But there is one there already.
And it's gonna go in the corner.
No,
Not a-
there's like a fish deck and some benches
Okay,
there.
okay,
but
this
it's
is not
going-
gonna be a fish
This
tank.
is
It's
the
going
shelter.
behind
Shelter.
that.
Oh, I'm
It's gonna go
sorry.
just to the west of
Yep.
it. We're kind of compliment the whole area.
Thank you for enlightening, I didn't appreciate it was gonna be a total shelter.
This is it's a hexagon shape and it's
Okay.
30 feet diameter from point to point on the shelter. The floor is a little bigger. And they wanted to make it look like the rest of the buildings in the park that were, constructed in that central area. So the kit has, obviously 6 posts and an octagon roof, so the contractor will put the concrete in, put the shelter up, it's got all the hardware that comes with it, the posts, the beams, and the roof deck, which is that 2x6 or 1x6 tongue and groove decking. And it will have a coat of stain on it, and then he has to get a contractor to put the roofing on too. Mike's crews are gonna do the around the shelter. We've gotten the stamped plans from Western Wood Structure, and I put a site plan together and submitted all that to Department of Development, but we need to go to Plan Commission because it needs a conditional use permit because it's in a floodplain. But it's not gonna have any impact on it, so it should be a pretty simple kind of a process. So working on finishing up the specifications, and we can hopefully go out to bid in December, get bids back in January, so we can construct in the spring. They also want to put electric in it, and there is a transformer on the other side, which would be the west side of that parking lot. So the plan is to bore under the parking lot, and I talked to Rob from inspection, and his recommendation would be to put another transformer on the east side of that parking lot and set it, and put a service there to set it up for Enchantment in the Park in the future, so they don't have to have all of those little boxes all over the place. So the service from the service to the shelter, we can run electric and get it into that, but the cost on all this is still unknown.
How about timing, Cindy? When do you anticipate having the bid package ready to go out?
Hopefully we'll bid it in December and get the bids back in January, if we get our permits by then and stuff, so I don't imagine there's gonna be much issue with that. It's going to the Plan Commission on November 5th, so.
It's
we
in
have
the
to go to-
floodplain, so it needs to go through that
Right,
process.
right.
I understand that because of the rain and everything, it was too wet to start earlier or anything, you wouldn't be able to pour concrete.
Well, we didn't have, we're bidding it out, so we need to get the permit and the specs and stuff together, and then you have to send it out, you have to give contractors like some time to review it, get their ducks in order for subcontractors or whatever they wanna use to propose pricing for all that stuff, so it's just the timeline between that and getting the plans, which we got this month, and getting that out to bid and get bids back it's too short to get things done this fall with the weather and stuff.
And I think timing for bidding would be very
It's better.
beneficial.
Because they were
Yeah.
hoping for April for the free fishing clinic, but yeah, there's no way that's gonna happen.
Well, maybe we'll get a really warm spell in
Yeah.
March
Oh,
and
sure.
We have a great spring.
we can always hope.
It's about time we have one of those,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the fishing clinics have been pretty darn cool, so.
Will that be rentable then too? Is
Yes.
that right? Just like it is up at Dakota and all that? Oh, great.
And eventually, the location is a good spot because it's close to the parking lot and you could run a walkway to it, which could be accessible, and so it's rentable for anybody who wants to
Great.
do that.
Will that impact some of the parking we use for overflow parking and big?
They will, but it's not that big of a shelter. I think you can fit maybe 5 picnic tables in there, 6 at the most, so it's not that you're gonna have 100 people renting that for, if they want shelter underneath.
For a smaller venue, a little family reunion or something like
Correct.
that.
Right.
Great. Outstanding. Any more questions on this? Thank you very much. Next is down at Regner Park, Enchantment Storage Facility renovations. And I don't know, should I start a little bit, or you wanna
Sure,
do it a little?
whatever.
Or you tell me, I know a little bit, you. First of all, Enchantment wants, they use that building to store all their lights and stuff in there, and it does neat work, right, Mike?
It does.
Yes, and so they want to improve it, want to put a new roof on it, which is terrible. They want to do siding, new lighting inside, and you know they're willing to foot some of the bill. A couple of questions out there, and that's where I think Mike, I'm you know to spend this kind of money, are the bones of that structure good to put this kind of money into it?
I know, I talked to Lori and Mike Phillips, and they had Dan Gonwa take
Yes,
a look at
correct.
it. And Dan felt that the building is definitely, I'll say, savable, renovate, you know. Excuse me, to invest some money into it is definitely probably a good idea. Because they were looking at building a new structure down there and possibly tearing down this old workshop. But those costs were beyond what they wanted
Yes.
to, you know, invest. So Dan Conwood took a look at it and they feel that this is something that, I mean, the building and structure works for them.
Yes.
Would they like something bigger? Well, sure, but this is what they have, so. I know I talked to Lori, I asked them to try and mimic what we already have in the park colors, themes and all that. And also start running some of these ideas past building inspection. Not that there's, you know, certain plans or something
Yes.
we're missing. So that's,
That was part of my question, is
Yeah.
what permits do we need city, would city, because it's for the parks, is there no cost on permits?
I would talk to the city administrator to
City-
see if something like that would be waived, because he would have more control over that than anyone on this side of the table. That would just be my suggestion. I can let him know if you'd like.
Okay,
As far as what permits you need, I'll answer that question.
We don't know, because, and
It
again,
depends on the extent.
right,
Yes,
and, because
yeah.
I know Lori had an electrician in.
yes.
They talked about roofing and siding,
Right,
just like you had
correct.
mentioned. I don't know exactly how far along they are, and,
They have, okay, they've costed out with one person right now, this Home Tech RRC, I would know them. The cost is $47,900, that's all, everything, that's electrical, siding, roofing, that's everything. they've been starting to look at different, maybe break it down like ridgeline for the roofing or something like that, you know, to see, get a couple more costs,
Sure.
to see, bring the cost down, okay? Just so you know, Enchantment already this year's put $4,400 into a new heater down
They
there,
did.
so they're willing to invest. Of course, as always, they're hoping the city would bump in a couple dollars. Enchantment's gonna foot probably the majority of the bill or some of the bill, hoping Friends Group, Kiwanis maybe, so same as usual. You know, they're gonna try to get some money raised. I think they're looking for sooner than later. It's a good time to do this while everything's out of the building, you know, during,
Oh, exactly.
you know, would
Even
be-
to do the inspections. and
yes,
things,
would
sure.
be timing right, so you're thinking they should, first of all, get city inspector down there, right, that would be,
When they know what they wanna do,
Yes.
that's what I kinda mentioned to Lori, get in touch with building inspection, and
Yeah.
that way, cause I certainly don't know what permits they may or may
Correct.
not need.
I mean, the early word is they don't need any permits for what they're proposing.
That's what I assume, but when we start talking electrical,
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
that
Right,
might
you
change.
might have, yes. And the other thing that was thrown out there is,
Yeah.
again, it's the restrooms are shot there, everybody know, right, that, they've been closed for years now. And there is a gap between the Ball Diamond and, like Sturcode and all that. Would there be any chances of, you know, I think Craig Hepner always said that that's never gonna happen, right? That they would put that, redo that, I guess that they would take city money probably, and that's
What are you,
the bathrooms, to redo the bathrooms.
oh,
There's a gap there down at Regner Park, and, I mean, in the day, that bathroom was used a lot. And, is there any chance of city monies, are you looking at that? I mean, that would be probably quite a cost issue, right, Mike, you know what a bathroom.
Well, I guess my question would be, would we want to increase the size of the restrooms that are there? I mean, the ones that are there are,
They weren't ADA.
They were,
horrible.
no,
Oh, no,
no,
no.
no.
Horrible
no.
conditions,
Right,
horrible.
no, it'd have to be.
Male or female, so
Right.
I guess that would be one question is, would we want to expand them, those, you know, make them larger? And I guess that would be a question for Enchantment, cause then they would lose some more storage
They
space.
would lose storage
operational
space,
They
correct.
just build it in, then.
Right,
what would be the rationale to do that since they're not there? And the main reason they were there in the past was to take care of the softball diamonds, which we're not using anymore.
But the basketball court now, I mean, they.
But, you know, you're talking 18, 20
Hardball's just a
guys
few more
versus
steps though.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah, hardball.
It was just thrown out there, I mean, it was in the day, you're right, with the ball diamonds, probably was used a lot.
And then that's before
And
we had
the
had.
hardball diamond, I don't think that's open at all times either.
it is now.
It is now
Back,
during,
back in the day, it was never open.
okay,
But they've got their own facilities there.
Right,
right, right.
yeah. So once the old workshop restrooms closed, the Hardball Diamond restrooms are open all the time.
Okay.
Games going on, Centennial Shelter or not, they're open to the public all the
Okay.
time.
I guess it'd be interesting to hear if there was a bid to find out how much it would cost. I guess at least it'd be interesting to
I
hear
mean,
that.
at least throw it out there, right,
Sure.
just in case, I mean, okay.
And again, I mean, I can, you know, if Lori and whomever wanna meet, I mean.
Would you do
oh, in a
that? Would you
heartbeat.
mind? Okay,
Sure,
okay.
you know,
Just, like I said, we wanna make sure they're on the right track. They definitely wanna invest money there, you know, and it will make it look a lot nicer, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like I said, it comes down to funding again,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean, you know, we're hoping we all have a few dollars to spend on it, so hopefully.
I mean, they were hoping for a new building, they realized it's just not gonna be feasible for them.
Is Enchantment in the park like a private club? It's not run through the
It's a
city?
separate,
It's like
you know,
its own 501c3 or
That's
something, like
correct.
a,
It's the Rotary clubs and
Okay,
they're
the
one
Rotary.
hundred percent separate, yeah.
okay. So do they pay rent to like use the storage facility, or is
Nope.
it just kinda like
Just an agreement.
That was part of the
Okay.
agreement. Yep.
It's the city's contribution to the
yeah,
event.
Right.
and activity.
okay, so like when you pay like $5 a car to go through, the money goes to the Rotary?
10.
Or whatever it is?
Yeah.
It does go to the
It's
Rotary.
10
the
and
three
it goes to
groups,
the-
and then they disperse.
And then they have other, you know, and then from there, the money is donated throughout the community.
Okay.
And the food's a big issue also,
Yep, oh, yeah.
they
Food
stock the
pantry.
pantries in quite a few cities, so.
And it's not just West Bend, it's Hartford, it's Slinger,
All Washington.
all Washington County.
And they pay a lot of groups to help set up and then they pay them $500.
volunteer groups.
Right,
Right.
so like,
Okay.
the West Bend Swim Club will come in and they'll do the
Or they'll give like grant
collecting.
money or something.
So they
and
gave
they'll-
them, they give them $500 to
Set up.
set up, sell popcorn,
volunteering for
take
that
money,
night.
right,
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't
so
know.
they like give grants to like local things if
No,
they help set up?
they just give them the money to help for that night,
Oh,
moving
okay.
the cars around and stuff, you know.
And
so
it's a home run, I don't know if you ever seen it.
I've been there,
Oh, yeah, you
that's
have,
why
I mean, how far are they backed up? I
Yeah.
mean, people are buying gas, eating in town, I mean,
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
it's a winner for West Bend, you
Yeah.
know.
The senior center does the concessions.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, now they do.
So I guess
Enchantment
tonight,
does reimburse the city for the use of the electricity to about $700 a year.
so I guess tonight was just
Lot of lights.
discussion,
Sure.
they do wanna move forward with it, and our parks, Friends of West Bend Parks are gonna meet, we wanna discuss what we would donate, so, Mike, if you wouldn't mind talking to
Oh,
Lauren
no,
to get that
I-
building, I'd really appreciate that, so.
I haven't talked to her about this topic in a while. It's kind of one of those where
Yep,
I'm here to support a
Yep.
group like that, but I don't want to get in the way.
no,
either.
I'll text her tonight that
Bird
you're
like-
gonna get a hold of
You
her,
know,
so.
I don't want people to think I'm getting nosy or something.
No, you don't, we want your nosiness, so please.
Well, I don't want to get in the way.
Anything else? All right, we have donations tonight.
I have two donations. The first one is for $32 for the archery range. We have a donation bollard down at the archery range. People can just throw in nickels, pennies, dollars. So again, $32, that'll go right back into the range, which is awesome. It helps with archery target replacement, things like that. Second donation I have here, it's pretty cool. It's from Habitat for Humanity of Washington, Dodge County, for $1,100. This will go towards park amenities. This is in reference to the work we do for German Fest, hauling the picnic tables down there and back and all that stuff. So again, a couple of great organizations to work with, so thank you to them.
And I have, I have a third one from Horicon Bank. This is in support of the 4th of July fireworks for $7,500.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then Roots and Branches came through, we reported last meeting that they had $750 for the trees. They've also contributed $1,000 just for all the stuff that parks do for them.
Oh,
Office space and
standing.
wonderful partnership that we have with Roots and Branches. So they recognize that, and it's no strings attached, it's for anything
Oh.
that so it'll go into the park.
Nice, very nice.
The trees are 3 trees that are on the East River Walk in that planter by Moa.
Carolyn needs all this fun stuff.
Great, great.
I move we accept and acknowledge said donations.
Got a second? Got a motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you very much. Very fortunate for West Bend. Reports, Chairman, one thing, our Friends of West Bend group okayed to buy and give a bench to Jim White. Anywhere in the city you would like, we're hoping to put in your backyard, but,
28, 20,
okay, no problem. No, for all your years, what you've done for the park commission,
That's very nice.
we really appreciate it. It's your choice. Mike's got okay that we're gonna make your backyard a little section of park.
Is it an Aldo Leopold bench?
I
I've
don't
got
know.
3
News
of
to
those
me,
already.
Jim, you know?
In my backyard.
We'll be over tomorrow to start digging it out.
There you
Put some
go.
concrete
One
down,
of those old
whatever.
wooden ones.
But we do appreciate everything you've done over the years, and so when the time comes, where you want to put it, and if they give the okay, Friends of West Bend Parks will pay for it. So whatever you want to put on there. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, Mike Weston, Secretary.
I have nothing.
Outstanding. Quarterly trust report. Does Jay, you handle that, or who's the?
It's in your packet.
Yeah.
Do you need more description of it?
There's, I don't know. So
We already talked about the park
right.
amount of 63,000 and how Carolyn did the research on figuring out where all of those dollars are assigned and what's available. I guess if there's any questions about
Okay.
anything else. we can talk about.
Anybody have any questions?
We still, see, we're still getting park fees dribbling in, huh?
Yes.
Just 2 or 3 this month or this quarter.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of new construction going on, but as that occurs, the park fees will.
Right.
one quick question, I don't know if it has, the dog park fees and donations, does any of that come from like the dog licensing? Some of, oh, okay.
All of
Yep,
it.
that's where it comes from.
Is that
Yep.
where it is? Okay, I
Yes.
was just wondering if that was part
Or
of
if
it.
someone were to do it, just a general donation, that's where that would
Okay.
also go.
It's not the licensing, though, it's the fee they pay for the
Dog
If the-
park.
use of the dog.
Right.
It's not like your
Not a
dog
dog
license.
license, it's the fee if they wanna use that
Oh, yeah,
facility.
like, but for people that pay $10 to like register their dog, is that included in the
No.
dog park?
No.
No, that goes somewhere else, okay, I was just curious.
The base J salary.
That goes to the city.
Okay.
I think park fees is probably worth mentioning, because Megan asked the question about, or somebody asked the question about Jackson, right, was that, Mike, how they were funded? So the park fees, for example, could be used for a new asset like the All Abilities Playground, or a portion thereof. That is the big chunk of cash that this group would have influence over to help out with a fundraising effort.
Yeah, the state says it's for acquisition and or development of recreational facilities.
Jeez.
So, this will really go a long way.
Yeah, well, it would help, yeah.
Well, it's a start,
I'm
right?
not saying it would be end all be all, but
No.
But
it's,
by and large, you want to utilize them. We used to try to pinpoint areas where, like new developments and everything, we'll put a new park or something in there, type of thing. But there used to be a thing, I don't know if it's out there, still out there, where there was movement afoot to use, if you didn't use them in 10 years, they had to go back to the contributor. Is that still in place?
yeah,
That was
this
the state,
state statute,
yeah. And I think it's just a matter of Carolyn doing her,
that's probably the next project on this,
doing her gymnastics.
tracking all that.
Great
stuff.
one for
We'll
finance.
find out when they come in.
Yeah,
Make
that,
sure.
We have more work to do.
Yeah, okay.
all good stuff.
Yes. So, do we have to prove this quarterly? Is that right? So we need a motion to approve the statement?
Move to accept the quarterly financial report.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, Conservation Supervisor. You're on deck, Courtney.
Okay, well, our goats have come and gone, so now we're focusing on getting that part of the property maintained. We spent a good portion of today cutting down the buckthorn. We'll be out there again tomorrow. Cutting it, treating it, and then we're gonna be planting there in the spring. We have a group of volunteers that wanna help with that. We just had our fall luminary walk, October 12th. It was raining, cold, but we still had a good amount of participants that came out for that. This Saturday, we have the Harvest Moon at the Lac La Reine Barn that's being presented by the Historic Barton Business Association from 4 to 10 p.m. So come on out to that. Nature in the Classroom started 2 weeks ago, and that will be going until the end of April. So we'll be in over 100 classrooms every month in the West Bend area from kindergarten through 3rd grade. And last Thursday, we had a property tour with the leadership of West Bend through the area Chamber of Commerce. That went well. That's it.
When are we gonna have our next prairie burn?
April of 2020.
Whenever you like the match.
April of 2020.
Gonna come out
Cool.
for it?
So like where the buckthorn is taken away, what do you put in there now? What kind of
Planting.
plantings, yes, what would you put in there?
We haven't decided yet.
Okay.
I think Paul White has some ideas, but he's out of the country.
Okay.
And right now, we're just treating the stumps, the buckthorn,
Okay.
so that it won't come back in the spring.
Okay,
How'd the goats do?
They did good. They escaped one day, but then we got them back. But it was successful. They
Okay.
did good damage by eating the buckthorn, so now we're just cutting down what's left and the stuff that was too high that they couldn't kick down, and the really big buckthorn that's needs to be sawed down.
Any thought to have them come back next year?
Well, our grant goes through April of 2020, but we're not, I think right now we're trying to redirect that money to use for planting, not for another goat, for goats coming out.
Great, thank you very much. Tourism and event coordinator Jackie.
This is the time, we're planning for everything coming forward, but first of all, don't forget that the trick-or-treaters are gonna be knocking on your door this Saturday from 4 to 6, that's October 26th. Our activities book is coming out November 24th. That's a week early. Usually it comes out the weekend of Thanksgiving, but because that's so late this year, we're a week earlier on it, so that will be coming out. It comes out in the Friday and the Sunday newspapers now because of the change in distribution of the newspaper. December 1st, that Sunday, is the Christmas parade, so you know that. And then we're already working on events for January. We are going to be doing a winter warm-up event. We're working with businesses in the community as well as having activities in the parks. We'll most likely have, we will have ice sculptures in some of the downtowns where I'm working in partnership with the Downtown Association. We'll have at least a few extra unique ice sculptures in Old Settlers Park that we'll be sponsoring. Possibly a sculptor, the actual guy doing the sculpting if we can. Mike and I are actually meeting with an organization called Hugh Jass. Bike tire racing, huge ass, but anyhow, so Mike and I are meeting with them on, I think it's next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, to see if we can make a track through Regner Park in January, which is when the winter warm-up is, but we want to make sure that it's not, that the bikes aren't going anywhere near what might possibly be still enchantment stuff in there, like if there's rebar somewhere, we don't want to be bringing a trail. They do like trails, they like beer, they like to be out freezing cold, fat tire bike racing in January. So we're gonna see what we can do to make that happen.
You know, the downtown said they're gonna put a bunch of lights at Old Settler Park, is that this year, or?
Yeah,
Yes.
They're gonna do
yeah,
that?
the tree, big tree, I think they're putting, is it a 30-footer, or is that? I think I heard a 30-foot tree going up. Yes?
Yep, yeah, I was gonna talk about it in a minute.
Okay,
but
yeah.
I don't wanna steal Jackie's.
No, I don't know much about it, except I just read about it today, so I'm like, oh, good. I don't have to deal with it. But anyhow, so yeah, so events we're actually plotting forward already. We're working on the winter, spring, like I said, the winter, spring book, and right after in January, we'll start hardcore with everything that starts for next year.
Any other questions for Jackie? Thank you. Rec Supervisor Nick.
Youth Fall Instructional Program started the second week of September. Soccer was on Tuesdays at Regner, instructional football on Wednesdays at Quas Creek, baseball Thursdays at Regner, and then programs ran for 5 weeks and it concluded the 8th through the 10th. So a couple weeks ago, they finished up with those programs. Youth Flag Football finished up with their league. Saturday games, October 5th, they played on Saturday mornings out at Quas Creek. We just put a couple football fields in the outfields on Diamond 1. Fall archery classes start on September 21st and will conclude this Saturday, the 26th. We have classes at the West Bend Municipal Archery Range. Dance classes started on the 24th and 25th of September. They're down in the lower level of Mutual Mall in the dance studio. We have over 180 dancers this year registered for the fall and spring season session. And they got a couple more weeks, November 6th, and then they'll break for winter break, and they'll start back up in January. Tuesday had the October 22nd, had the Women's Adult Volleyball League meeting over at UW-Milwaukee at Washington County. We have 20 women's teams this year, 3 divisions for 20 overall. They're going to play Tuesdays and Thursday nights in the gym over at the university. They start their league play on November 5th. We will be hosting an American Red Cross babysitter training course Saturday, November 2nd. So next Saturday we do that in the police classroom. We get 12 or 13 kids signed up. We usually fill it with 20. 20 is the max. And I'll be attending the Park and Rec Conference November 6th and the 7th in Wisconsin Dells. Mr. Yench.
Great. Any other questions? Thanks, Nick. Superintendent of Parks and Forestry, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. A couple quick items this week. We have been busy working with building maintenance, shutting down all of our facilities for the winter restrooms, irrigation systems, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, good timing on that, obviously, with the temperatures and all that. 2020 operational labor budget, that has gone before the Common Council for, I'll say, the first reading. It goes back again on the 11th for a public meeting. Right now for Park Rec and Forestry, biggest impact is a $97,000 reduction, which is the loss of a park maintenance position, full-time position, and also a reduction in our equipment maintenance budget, and then some adjustments and some revenues for facilities and things like that. So that's a big hit. We lose a full-time staff member.
What impact will that have on the parks?
Less projects. Less, like the John Wagner fishing deck area and things like that, we won't have time for that. We still have to maintain the areas we have. We just built a $2.2 million Riverwalk. It better be spotless all the time. I think that's what our customers and our community is gonna want. So some of these projects that we do, we won't do them anymore. Or, I'm not saying we're not gonna do any, we just won't do as many. We physically cannot do it. Spring and fall, I mean, with EAB stumping and all that stuff, yeah, we gotta get through and et cetera, that we're losing a full-time maintenance position, so we will have to adjust some of that.
Sounds like we're taking a step back instead of even trying to maintain status quo. Hopefully we can revisit that again. I think that it's essential that we maintain the park maintenance crew with the staff and the levels you've got now. But you guys figure it out, but very disappointed to see that. Because obviously we got $151,000 that we're playing around with. Fortunately, it's not been, according to the paper, it's not been totally allocated, so.
And my last item is 2020 capital budget goes to Common Council on November 4th. There's some different possibilities with the purchase of a fire truck and a possible lease for half of that fire truck and things like that. So right now, I'll say the best case scenario for the capital budget for our department is $40,000 for EAB response. Again, it's mainly planting, street tree planting, park planting, and sometimes we need additional funding for stumping. The second item would be renovating the tennis and basketball courts at Riverside. That would be $50,000 for that. Same type of program we did in Regner Park with the armor coating and things like that. Again, very successful, so it would be pretty good. It'd be great to get those courts resurfaced like that. Just a good maintenance. If we don't do it, they're just gonna fall apart. And then we'll need quadruple the amount of money, so.
Another bicentennial park.
Yep, and then if it does go through, down at the shop, we were looking at a possible new brush chipper, a new loader, and infield groomer. Just replacing what we have. The big push for emerald ash borer removal of all our street trees and all that, that's over. Our two brush chippers are welded together and re-welded together and rebuilt, and bearings have exploded and rebuilt.
You got your money's worth out of them.
We did, and we beat
Yeah.
the you-know-what out of them,
Yeah.
and it's just, let's send them down the road. So like that, our cat loader has like 8,000 hours on it, things, it's just, we've used it. We've used them, and we wanna move those along. And then the infield groomer, it's exactly that for maintaining our athletic fields. We have more games today than we ever have. We have more tournaments today than we've ever had. So we need something that starts at 4 a.m. on a Saturday so we can get a multi-state Little League tournament in and things like that. So yeah. So the capital budget for us, as far as I'm concerned, is outstanding news. So that's what I got.
Are the stumps ground down from the emerald ash borer removal?
We have about 526 stumps still remaining. Excuse me. Not all ash stumps. All the ash trees are gone. We're making our way through the city to get all the ash stumps down. Well, we have other non-ash trees that we're now removing because we remove trees because they die.
Yeah.
So if everything aligns and everything goes good, this time next year, we should have 0.
The stumps will be
Yes,
gone too.
so we should be caught up. Some of our customers, unfortunately, have been staring at street tree stumps literally for 3 years, yeah.
That's why I'm wondering.
And, we took Roger Kiss, Alderman Kiss requested a review of that. We did that in May of whenever. And a lot of times, the common council looked at it, obviously there's a financial impact.
Yeah.
And it was around $213,000, you know, to get all the stumps gone immediately.
Right.
But the common council felt that the trees are gone, that's the hazard, and just, not that anyone enjoys it, we're just gonna have to live with the stumps for a little bit, so.
Okay.
Yep,
Coming. Okay.
yep, I'll ask you later where you live.
Okay, that's
So
where.
spring.
gotcha.
Spring. Okay.
I would suppose that people won't fix their sidewalks until the stumps are gone, if the sidewalks are all buckled.
It's, a lot of times it comes through engineering, cause they work on different sections of the city each year, so when, I don't know, how that, what rotation they're on or anything like that, so. But if someone replaces their sidewalk today, we can still get that stump out of there without damaging their sidewalk, so.
I will say the new tree plantings are beautiful though. You drive around town, they're outstanding. They
Yep.
really are some nice, I mean, they really look great. So kudos to, you know, when you get new trees in there, it looks great.
That's been a nice commitment, I mentioned at the J this morning, starting in 2009, the common council made a commitment then, and they've carried it forward every year.
Yes.
Cause our customers are asking, we're removing all these trees, do I get a replacement? First question is, when's the stump going away? Second question is, do I get a tree? So, and that's, not everyone wants a tree, that's cool,
Right.
but if we can, there's a happy ending maybe to the story.
There will be.
And long-term, 20, 30, 40, 50 years for West Bend, the trees we're planting, the diversity, it's gonna be a better urban forest anyways, so,
Great. Anybody else for Mike? Thank you very much, Mike.
thank you.
Park Project Manager Cindy.
Just to keep on the EAV thing, we've had, good luck we had applied for urban forestry grant, which is a $25,000 50/50 match. Last 2 years, we were awarded that, we did apply again in October, so. But they like to fund new startup projects rather than something ongoing maintenance, so we'll see if we get that. If we don't, we'll still hopefully plant as many as we have. It's been right around 300 trees a year that we've been planting, so we'll see if we get that grant. We should find that out in December sometime if we got it. That'll kind of determine how many trees we can put into, so. The only thing I wanted to update you else on was the West River Walk. It's an ongoing project and it will be for a lot more years. But we met with We Energies. They've been working on the plan for removing and replacing those transformers and all the utilities along the West River bank for over a year now. So we looked at the last piece of that yesterday. We had an hour plus meeting with them to talk about it, so I think we're very close to figuring that out. They said within the next 2 weeks, they will have the plan figured out for us. And that includes other utilities that have to go in the same trench as them. So, and then we will get a better idea of a price for that one item. We also reviewed the first draft, the floodplain modeling with SEH, upstairs with Department of Development, so we're gonna keep working on that. And they came up with the first draft of construction drawings, and we spent 2 hours yesterday going over the details on that. So we are making progress, even though it's been a long time coming, and it seems like it's forever. The one thing we have to finish up with purchase of the property, that parking lot, is we're still doing environmental soil borings for the BL Branch property, so hopefully that will be finished up soon too. And we'll be applying for a DOT multimodal local supplement grant. Those are due early December. It is $75 million, a one-time grant for counties, villages, cities in the state. The minimum project size is $250,000. The maximum grant award is $3.5 million. So we're competing with Transit Bridge Road, bicycle pedestrian, and I can't remember what the other one. Is it railroad stuff? Yeah. So who knows? But it would be really nice if we would get a big grant from that.
Oh, yeah.
We wouldn't have to keep applying for all kinds of other grants.
It's a 90-10 match, so it's
Yes.
really
That's
favorable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's what I have.
Well, great work, Cindy. Thank you. Any other questions for her?
Everything with the flood, well, the high water we had, everything on the east side, nothing got damaged or anything?
Nope.
Looked like it held it all. I mean, it was crossing the river down there, across the street for a while. Yeah, so outstanding. Great. All right, interim director, Jay.
I can start by talking about the budget a little bit. Jim mentioned the 151,000 or the 6 cents. I think that's probably an information piece for you all. The council is about split on this topic. I think the paper did a pretty good job of explaining that their division. We don't have a mayor at this point. You're aware of that, I assume. Our mayor resigned. Maybe Megan.
Oh.
Oh my
hasn't heard
gosh,
that.
really? Like, well, he was just at that meeting, like, was it a week ago he resigned?
Yeah, he resigned on
Monday.
Monday.
Okay, I was like, it
Mondays.
had to have been pretty recent,
Monday's
right?
council meeting.
Monday.
Monday.
Okay, okay.
A few days ago. So in the interim, Steve Hugister, our council president, will be acting, or is acting mayor. The council on November 4th will decide the process to replace the mayor's position for the remainder of the term. The term is concluded this coming March, or starts over again in April. There's been one person that has declared already. Rich Caston has declared as an interested soul for the mayor role, and we'll see if anybody else chooses to do that. That's related to the budget certainly, because one of the budget votes this past Monday, the mayor only votes in a tie, and there was a tie regarding the 6 cent issue. So the rate is either gonna be $7.79 for the city of West Bend taxpayers, or $7.85, or theoretically they could pick a different number, but 6 cents is kind of the item in debate that equates to about $151,000 that would be funded by fund balance if the tax rate isn't increased to, it's currently $7.79, if it's not increased to $7.85, then it would be supplemented with fund balance to create a balanced budget, because we have to propose a balanced budget. That's really the 6 cent issue. The CIP budget that Mike mentioned is really exciting news for not only the Parks Department, but for other departments to be able to receive some additional funding. EAV has been fully funded in CIP, past year's CIP, but it's been really difficult to compete with fire trucks for capital projects. So the police and fire, public safety is and has been a priority for the city of West Bend. Most municipalities make that their number one priority. And the pieces of equipment that Mike mentioned, the chipper and the Bobcat and Sand Scorpion, have all come in second or third place in recent years to that fire truck purchase, whatever it might be. So we're going to be bringing this lease option. It's a 10-year lease to own. It's another way of paying for a fire truck versus putting it in the CIP. Otherwise, the $550,000, it's a $1.1 million truck. And we're proposing to split it into 2 years. And so $550,000 sitting in the CIP knocks out most of those items that,
CIP.
I'm sorry, capital improvement projects.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jim. The capital improvement project list is long and extensive, and our council debates that often, right?
Every year.
We're raising our amount that we're borrowing for from 2 million to 3 million. So it's a significant increase, and in addition to the $3 million, 2 million of which is dedicated to roads. If the council chooses to utilize this lease program, we'll actually be able to fund $3.6 million worth of projects for capital improvement, including the 326, I totaled up that list, Mike, that you rattled off. It's $326,000 for parks, which is a significant increase over previous years, and one that I'm hopeful that the council will vote in favor of on the 4th, and then Mike's already preparing the back documentation that Carrie and the finance team needs to prepare that budget. So I don't know if there's any more questions about that, but I really think this is good news for the operation. It was intriguing for Mike to say to me today that Steve Schmaling, who's our vehicle maintenance lead, is also excited about it, an ancillary positive that I wasn't really thinking about, but that's less junk that Mike is bringing in to get fixed, and frees up his guys a little bit too.
Isn't there a safety issue on some of this stuff? You say it's been rewelded 16 times.
We would not use it unless it's,
Right.
But I mean, if
Oh, yeah.
I think it's safe and all of a sudden it blows up and somebody gets hurt,
yep.
it becomes real
Absolutely.
significance, and I think that's, okay, penny wise, pound foolish, but,
Yeah, so
for an old adage, but anyway.
if you paid close attention to the council agenda on this past Monday night, in addition to the mayor resigning, they've also accepted an offer for Mutual Mall. It's something that I've been talking with Nick very closely about, who has programs at the Mutual Mall. That accepted offer, the timeline of it, we're still sorting out as far as how fast the entity that's purchasing the property from the city would look to raise the building, because that's what they would look to do. And then reconstruct the new business there in the future. So I'll stay close in touch with park staff on that, and I guess just stay tuned as commission members on how that might work. We're working on Plan B if we need to move programming out of there mid-season, if you will.
I'd hard believe that 1 month time they're gonna wanna raise it. I mean, I think it takes time, so at least we're moving forward to the library stuff a little bit, so might all come together.
Ideally, if we get to April, it'd be in our best
Interest.
and, so. As Jay said, we really don't know if that's gonna be the case or not, so we're making strides to find space. But, and again, the library rec center makes it even more imminent that we need that, and we need to push forward with that project, so.
And two other quick things, the leadership group that Courtney mentioned, I did get a chance to peek at the reviews, and Courtney was rated really high and all the Loch Lomond learning, so congrats on that, great job, first walking tour of the West Bend Leadership Group. They also came to Riverside for a disc golf demonstration and a parks chat, and I was able to talk them through that, and we got to play a couple of holes of disc golf on the great course, which was a lot of fun as well. November 7th, put on your calendars if you want to come to a fun Christmas tree lighting ceremony. That's going to be I think it's 25 feet, Jackie, it might be 30, but 25 sticks out in my head as to what is being planned for Old Settlers Park. They're going to have a Christmas sleigh scene, kind of a photo op opportunity under the gazebo, and then the construction or installation of a large Christmas tree. The nativity scene is being proposed to be relocated to Westbury Bank. They've been willing to accept the scene on their property. It's a bid project, so the bid put up $28,000, and then a few donors, and there's going to be a press release on that soon, came together and said we'd really like the West Bend downtown lights to be improved, and we're willing to put our money where our mouth is, and it's an awesome proposal that we really think is gonna improve and tie into the enchantment piece, Mike, that you were talking about before. We've chatted with Lori a little bit about the possibility of if there's some lighting features that were in the downtown that they're no longer needing. It's all city property, so they could certainly use it at Enchantment, and it would just be an awesome tie to have this. The way David J. Frank, who is assisting with the setup, is talking, this will be the largest municipal downtown lit area of any that they know of in southeastern Wisconsin. So that's a pretty cool thing. It's an $80,000 lift in downtown lighting, so these things don't come cheap.
When they're gonna plant a new tree, do they have to tear up any of the existing stuff there to put this into the ground?
Great question. It's a fake tree, so it's one that they're just erecting.
Okay.
And we'll be working with Mike on making sure that they don't wreck Old Settlers Park.
And that's November 7th at 7 p.m.?
7 p.m., yeah.
Okay.
There'll be a little ceremony in downtown.
I've been 4 days late. It's my wife's birthday, what a great time.
There you go, take her
Firefighter
out.
Bluff Park, they're still talking about putting lights on those trees up there?
I think that's their game
They
plan.
brought
Yep.
electricity
Yep,
in to do
they
that.
did, yep, correct.
That'd be-
And maybe we can share some pieces of lighting
Yeah, up
with, if there's some become available. I don't know if it's compatible what they're thinking or not, but.
Any other questions for Jay at all? Is there anything else for the Park and Rec Commission meeting? Any questions, discussions?
What's the status about getting a permanent director?
I don't have anything new to report on that.
Anything else? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Oh.
Check it.